Good day, everyone. My name is Arthur. I'm a firefighter with a fire department in a major municipality in the Chattahoochee Valley area, which will remain unnamed in order to stay in compliance with our organization's social media policy. Here today, as part of our civilian fire program, we're going to cover fire extinguishers. Now, in front of you, you see a 20-pound dry chemical fire extinguisher rated to fight Class A, B, and C fires. It is one pulled from our apparatus. As you can see, the wear and tear scuffs on it. It sees active use, at least in day-to-day transport, cleaning, inspection, and occasional deployment. Next to it, it's a lot smaller size here, but the same, is another dry chemical Class A, B, and C rated fire extinguisher. However, this one is a 5-pounder. It is the more common type you will see in your residence kitchens and commercial buildings. They are smaller, easier to pick up and use, as we will see. And still, despite the size difference, both are rated to cover an area between 5 and 20 feet and have a rated duration of 8 to 25 seconds depending upon the circumstances of deployment. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind when you look at a fire extinguisher before you use it. First and foremost, the best thing to do is you want to go to this gauge here and check the charge. It's a spring type gauge. It should be in the green. If it is below or above, you need to contact the name of the company of the tag that should be associated with it for inspections and have it serviced. Next thing to do too is to check the service tag and make sure it's within date. Anything with a year needs to be reevaluated. As you can see, this one right here was inspected on the 1st of September last year and therefore is at this date due for renewal. Also, as an insider tip, if you check this extinguisher and you still see that it's charged, it's also good to lift it and try to feel it to make sure that you don't have an error where the needle has broken and is giving you a false reading. This has happened multiple times, and the only way to catch it is actually put your hands on the extinguisher and assess it. Next, when making the choice of an extinguisher, hopefully you never do, you need to make sure you choose the right type of extinguisher for the right type of fuel. Now, most extinguishers today are labeled quite clearly, and for our purposes, we're going to talk about the 3 different classes that you see most often. And the classes are based upon the type of fuel they are just the fuel that's feeding the fire they're supposed to fight. We have here, quite simply, Class A is your trash, wood, paper, textile products, rubber, and some plastics. So one of your more common types, and this extinguisher is ready to fight them with ease. Next are your flammable liquids, lubricants, gas, oils, liquid petroleum gas, all fall under this purview here. A grease fire is a good example of this possibility. Last, type C, this extinguisher is rated to handle electrical equipment, which means that the solution within is not going to conduct electricity further and risk shocking the user. You will see specialized Class A extinguishers in server rooms or in concentrated areas in IT departments, perhaps even at Columbus State's own computer lab. However, more than likely it's going to be an ABC extinguisher to handle any possible fire. I don't believe the concentration of computers is dense enough, nor the overall value high enough to justify buying the specialized type of extinguisher. So keeping these 3 in mind, the next thing to do is consider, if you do have a fire, how to deploy it. Now, before I stand up and show you, we can go over the very quick instructions here, and they come with an acronym, which we don't see mentioned, which is PASS, P-A-S-S. And what you do with this is, the idea of PASS is that you take your extinguisher. The P stands for pull. You pull the pin. With the pin in its normal positioning, which is always difficult to replace after use, You cannot just accidentally deploy the product by squeezing the handle. It's a safety mechanism there to save the product for use and also avoid anyone being covered in contaminant through dry chemical accidentally. But first of all, you pull the pin. The next step is you take the nozzle here and you aim. That is the A of the assessment. With your other hand, you then squeeze. It doesn't take too much pressure. We're not going to do it here so not have an accidental discharge, but it's relatively simple. Most people can do it without any difficulty. And then the last S, this first one, the first of the two in pass being squeeze, the last S is sweep, where you take the nozzle and direct the product back left and right across the base of the fire in order to achieve extinguishment. This ensures an appropriate allocation and dispersal of the chemical across the fire and helps it to inhibit the chain reaction appropriately. In our next video, we will cover the more specialized extinguishers, including Class K and Class D, and go over some of the more minuscule aspects of their maintenance and care. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you soon.